Sutton, Suffolk. Okay, yeah, so I will just get started now. You should all be seeing the presentation on screen. I think I've been sharing it for a while. Okay, okay, let's get on this thing of future proofing. Okay, so for those that are recently joining, I introduce myself. My name is Fabian, but I will introduce myself again for the whole of the group. So I do a couple of things at Rebel. First of all, I run the Rebel Colombia um, branch of the business. I'm based in Reading in the UK, but I do run it with the team that is over there. And for Rebel UK, I run and work as a performance manager. So I have a background in law. Don't hold that against me. I'm not a certified, qualified UK solicitor. I did it back in my home country, but I don't do it anymore. But I do have some experience in these sort of things around, future proofing and corporate commercial stuff. And I have been doing some of that at Rebel for a while. So a couple of rules for today. Basically, we have a full hour, as you know, but I know this is a complex time of the day, so I won't take hopefully the full hour. I will also try not to talk for 30 minutes or for the full hour, because I think that the most value that we can get is from hearing you all and getting to know your experiences better. I will strive to talk for 20, maybe 30 minutes, top, and then we can interact with the questions. Please, if at any moment you see anything that you don't understand, if there are problems with sound, whatever, please do intervene and ask me. I really think that the comments are very, very valuable. I will try and keep up with the comments in the chat. If I miss any, please excuse me, but I have a little bit of issues running the presentation while at the same time looking at the comments, but I will definitely try. If you participate, that would be very good for me. It will definitely, that your interventions energize me. I really appreciate if you do, because running this type of presentations, and especially in English, is not something that I do very often. So I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone. So hearing you out and listening and reading you can help me. So thank you for that. So let's get now definitely started. So what is future proofing? If you can write in chat, please, we can start and break the ice. What is your business, and what are your ideas, and what do you think, number two, is future proofing? If you can write in chat, I will try to read. The reason why I ask, and we will come to this very recurrently throughout the presentation, is because future proofing really is nothing. It's just an ethereal term, and it can be very, very different for everybody. So we have t-shirts, wedding cakes. Patricia answers and says that it's making sure that my business is planned for the future. Yes. Interesting business resilience. Yes, definitely. Okay. Confectionery starting at okay. So we have a big variety kids party planner. Okay, I have something that I've planned for party planning. We'll see in just a while. Okay, so yeah. So we have some comments. A lot of people talking about what is future proofing. Quite on point. But as I said, it can be many things. And the reason why I wanted to know what you were doing is because it will be very different for everybody. How do you protect your business and yourself as an entrepreneur for the future? Will vary depending on what sort of business you run. Definitely very, very much. But there are some general definitions which I like to start from. This is a very theoretical, very academic one. It's extracted from a business resiliency journal in education. But what I interest and catches my eye from this is that is the process of anticipating the future and developing ways to reduce the stresses of future events. So for me, the important part of this definition, or the interesting part, is how can you anticipate the future? Well, you can't. That is absolutely impossible. This does have some components of what I believe future proofing to be, but at the end of the day, it is absolutely impossible to know for sure what will happen tomorrow, 10 years time, 20 years time. This other definition is a little bit more grounded. Um, it is that if you are future proofing something, not necessarily just a business, you design or change it so that it will continue to be useful or successful in the future if the situation changes. So that is a little bit more in line with what I want to talk to you about today. Basically, having mechanisms in place of having had the opportunity of thinking about uh, what does the future of my business look like. That is already a very big first step towards protecting it against things that will happen in the future. As I said, uh, it will be different, absolutely different for everybody. The person that is doing the party planning for kids. This is the slide that I had not intentionally prepared for you. Lovely bubbly. Having kids in a bouncing castle, or having them play with like in the picture, having a pillow fight. The risks associated with your business will be very, very different from the risks associated with somebody that has an architecture studio. I saw Patricia over here, or somebody having a security business. It will be very different. But at the end of the day, one thing is for certain, and is that the occurrence of something unpredictable is the only predictable thing. And I think that COVID really did teach us that nobody is exempt of massive changes in the economy, sudden modifications to the way we work, to our businesses, to the way we live. That can happen and will continue to happen more and more often. So it's important to acknowledge this and to prepare for the future. So for that, have designed this kind of circle that I call the formula to create magic. We'll continue. We will start to talk from the inside out. It's something that I just think it will definitely be different from other people that do this all the time. It will be very different for people that do project management or whatever. But I think it's important to have some sort of methodology in place and start at the very center. For me, and we do emphasize this a lot in Rebel, at the center is you, and the thing that I have added, your creativity, and in parentheses, maybe your IP, because not necessarily every time IP is a relevant stuff, but definitely you yourself are at the center of the business, right? What you do, what you create, the creativity that you have, the things, the ideas that you have come up to in creating your business are at the center of it all. As I said, if you take care of yourself and you protect yourself against changes in the future from a personal standpoint, but also from the standpoint of an entrepreneur, you will be protecting your business as well, right? We do have a lot of other courses in Rebel that handle this type of more personal approach to future proofing, keeping yourself motivated. We have a course on that. Productivity. We have some talks about that. The networking, which can be very important to keeping you in line with what you want to do. But I want to focus a little bit more on the creative side. And at the end of the day, even if you think that you don't have a creative business or whatever, what you are doing on a daily basis is important and is worth protecting. And the reason why I say that is because this specific case caught my eye recently. This is Erica. Erica is a fellow Colombian that came to one of our courses, the Rebel Nation course, a couple of months ago, and she's an influencer. She basically has an Instagram account. She has a TikTok account where she raises awareness against long COVID. In Colombia, she has a TikTok account where she does dancing and community engagement with at-risk youth. So she has a very particular type of business. And a couple of months ago, she wrote to me, maybe a month ago, she wrote to me and said, Fabian, somebody hacked my account. Yeah. I lost all of my followers. That this hacker is extorting me for money. He wants me to pay, or she wants me to pay in order to give up my account. So I don't know what to do. We tried some things. We tried to talk to Facebook, and we're trying some stuff here and there. But the important thing to take from this is, the creativity that went into building these posts, having her stories in the videos, all of this, even though it potentially cannot be, patented, or it cannot be protected through law, there are mechanisms in place to protect and to avoid these shocks that can affect her business. In this case, the business of an influencer can be gravely affected by this type of cybersecurity breaches. Um, Now she's going to keep a backup of her posts. She's going to keep some sort of place where she's going to she might not recover all of her followers, but at least she will not lose all of the work that is being done. So again, it might be different for everyone. There are different types of approaches to protecting your creativity and protecting your IP. The reason why I put IP in parentheses is because I don't think you need to have a patent. I definitely rebel things. You don't have to have a registered trademark. You don't have to have copyrighted information if you want to have a successful business. But if you plan out and you decide and you understand that at the core of your business there is a specific technology, or your brand is so valuable that you need to protect it somehow, there are legal mechanisms in place that could help you do this. But at the end of the day, I think the important lesson to take from this is, what you do, what you create, and what you plan on creating deserves to be protected somehow. There are various legal mechanisms, but just acknowledging that it exists, and that it is very important for the continuity of your business is already an important first step. Um, the second ring of this whole kind of model is, I think, the model and the team. So having a clear model of what your business will look like in the future, or what you want your business to be, is important. Because, for example, there are people that just want to, I don't know, have a business until they retire, and then they finish it. After that, they liquidate it. After that, there are some people that want to have continuity in their business long term. So how they protect the future of their business will vary. In the case of the family business, in the case of the longer term company, you might want to have a succession plan in place. You might want to have something different to support you. If you are going to have partners or co-founders, you might want to have agreements in place that protect you in case you fall out, or something happens to one of your partners. So having clarity on this model is very important. And at the core of it, when the majority of us here are self-employed and possibly sole traders, mm, it's important to ask yourself: are you a one-person team? Are you wholly dependent on yourself to run the business? And I think that traditional business and traditional employment many times tries to teach us and try to instill in our heads that being and becoming essential for your business is the way to go. When I used to work in a company, I tried to make myself as necessary for the company as possible. If I am not here, the company will fail. If I make myself necessary for the company, they will not be able to fire me. And that was kind of the thinking. But I think the most valuable and important aspect is thinking about it in the other way around. How can I make myself as unnecessary as possible for the company? I wanted to be able to run while I'm not there. I want to be able to take my breaks, to take a holiday, and the company to continue operating. If something happens to me, or the people that are essential within my company, I wanted to continue progressing. So understanding that you are not essential for the company is a big step towards future proofing your business, and taking the necessary steps to ensure that everybody has access within your business has access to the information that you have, that you can transfer the know-how of how you run your business to future generations. All of those things are quite important. We do talk a lot about this during the Rebel course, around hiring your weaknesses. yeah, about not doing everything yourself. And this comes back to the first circle of our magic circle, protecting yourself first and foremost, and not overworking and not overextending with the things that you maybe don't like to do or maybe don't know how to do, and definitely will not be able to do everything. And this kind of raises the questions: do you think that a country can operate, a country can function without a president in those like presidential countries? Um, and I ask this to all of you in chat. Do you think a president is necessary, is required for a company to run? Okay, Ezra says yes. Um, yeah. So basically, most people say yes. Okay, yeah, that's valid. I do think it is quite important, but in my opinion, it is not essential. Presidential countries do have, and any country will have a lot of different institutions that require them to be in place. The president is an important, a very essential figure, as is a business owner, as are yourself as a sole trader. But at the end of the day, others are there to support you, and others are there to help you in the process. This is a picture of the rebel team, um, which is in my personal professional experience and my personal experience a good example of people that want to push towards a common goal, and that know that not a single one of them is essential for the business, because at the end of the day, for your sanity and for your own self tranquility, hiring out some of your weaknesses is as important as doing it yourself. Teaming up with somebody that knows how to do something that you don't know how to do is quite important, because what will happen to my company tomorrow if I got sick? You know, will the company continue to operate if I'm not there to run it? Do you have, and these are some of the questions that we can start to note down, and you can think for yourself, do I have a recruitment plan in place for the next couple of years, medium term, long term, um, for the things that I definitely don't enjoy doing? Do I want to get somebody to help me in this whole thing? And even again, does not have to be employees. This does not have to be growing the company in terms of employees. uh, we can be talking about getting freelancers or getting other suppliers into the mix that will be able to uh, make me relax a little bit more, whatever they may be. Definitely accountants, but potentially also sales, marketing, social media, whatever things I don't enjoy overly doing, or I waste or use too much of my time in doing. I might want to get those looked at if I have a recruitment plan. Do you have a succession plan? Of course, again, we go back to the initial question about, do I have clarity on the model and what I want to do for my business? But if your intention is to grow your business in time, if your intention is for it to become a family business, to come for future generations, or just the people that are currently helping you run it, do you have a succession plan in place? Because again, anything can happen to you, good or bad. You might decide that you want to go to Thailand and have an eternal vacation, and that is fine. But if you want your business to continue running, there must be some sort of succession plan in place that will help you attain this. And this concept of passing on the baton is quite important. It's quite important because again, if there is something that needs to be doing that is not currently being taken care of, or that I personally cannot do myself, then I might need to outsource it. This is a very simple model here, um, about that can help sort out what are the things that my company currently needs. I got it from this webpage, which is, I would encourage you to go there. It's called Farilio. They provide support for future proofing, a lot of legal stuff around, model terms and conditions, model co-founder agreements, and all of these things that can be relevant to build resilience. But starting from your own personal position, and understanding what is it that I love to do in the company, what is it that the business needs me to do, but I don't necessarily love doing, what is it that I definitely hate doing, and what are the things that I can do can help you get a grip of the things that I could outsource in order to future proof um, my business. Um, this section here, the can't do, we will come back to this pretty much a lot, but the most classical cannot do things like document management, GDPR, cybersecurity, and the things that most people will definitely think are not important and need some sort of attention, are the best place to start in order to kill two birds in one stone and kind of protect your own personal time, but at the same time future proof your business. So Sophie over here says, yeah, I agree. And again, I think you have, Sophie, clarity on the fact that you want to remain as a sole entrepreneur, and that clarity on the model is very important. But yeah, there are things that definitely you might need to or might want to get some support. Accounting is the first and foremost over there most of the time. But as the business does grow, you might have to think about additional stuff. And again, even if your plan is not to grow it, if you wanted to remain in the future, if you wanted to persist, you might want to consider at least having some sort of plan in place in case you want to go take care of your kids for a longer while but continue receiving the benefits of the business, or go on a big holiday. All of these things add up and help you future proof and protect, give more resilience to the business. This slide I didn't have yesterday. I built it last night for a very simple reason. I think it's not necessarily applicable to everybody. So let me ask: is anybody in the chat part of a company that has co-founders? Do you have partners in your business, or are we all sole traders? Because if not, I can just skip through this one. You can let me know if you have other partners, because the reason why I bring this up is because we got, okay, so Melanie has co-founders, so I will talk very briefly about this one. The reason why this became important to me, and even for the people that don't have co-founders at the moment, this might be relevant in the future if you want to bring somebody into the company, or if you are intending to sell it potentially. But for those that do have co-founders at the moment, or that do have partners, another Rebel alumni wrote to us a couple of weeks ago, and the thing is that he's having some troubles with his co-founder. They are two people in one company, 50-50 divided, and they're having some differences on how to run the company, differences in opinion. One of them thinks that the other one is not pulling their weight on the management of the company, and they have reached a point where the company is stagnant. Yeah. And this is the worst possible scenario, because at the end of the day, the biggest suffering person in all of this is the company, is the business, and we don't ever want that. Sadly, one of the most common causes for startups failing at an early stage is co-founder falling out, and this is incredibly common. Um, Potentially some of the things that I have written here on the screen are overkill for the majority of businesses, like shareholders agreements, or having a director service contract. Potentially this is too much, but what I write here in the title: always wish for the best, always know that the business will continue to grow. And short parenthesis, Wendy, yeah, if both of you are directors in the company, that is the same situation that our Rebel alumni is facing right now. They're both shareholders, equal shareholders, and they're both directors. So they're kind of blocking each other, and it's a little bit sad because the company is doing well. Always wish for the best, but always prepare for the worst. And it's good if you haven't had kind of a deadlock provision written into your articles of incorporation, or some sort of dispute resolution in place for when things might get tough, or again, they might get very good. And so one of you might simply want to, the company did so well that you want to retire early, but you will want to have some sort of disposition in place that will help you, again, protect you against any sort of situation. Somebody might get sick, and the company might suffer as a result. So it is always worth it to take a look at these things. And this is, again, one of the first and important steps for future proofing the business. Um, in the third ring over here, having a smart structure. What I mean with this is having something in place that will allow you to operate with little disruption. Yeah. Um, Bigger companies have a lot of policies, a lot of things in place that will protect them against disruption. But smaller companies have a bigger advantage, and is that they're very lean and they're very flexible and can react quite fast to changes in the environment. But this doesn't mean that they are exempt, they are completely free of situations where they're put at a risk because of an unforeseeable circumstance. So that leads me into potholes. Why? Why potholes? What do potholes have to do with resilience, and why am I talking about potholes at this stage of the presentation? Well, basically, even a pothole can affect your business, and it definitely can. So this is James. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. James is the sales manager at Rebel. He's a wonderful salesperson. He manages clients like nobody else. He keeps the pipeline running smoothly. Some of you might have attended one of his sessions about selling and I think sales funnels. I think he made one of those. Those are on the website. But James also loves cycling very much. He loves going out on his road bike. And last year, he was riding outside his village, and he fell into a pothole. He's fine, perfectly fine. Again, only a couple of bruises. He started working again on the same day, but this got me thinking. James is the only person in our company that holds the records for all of our clients. He's the only person that talks to the clients on a weekly basis. He has a lot of information. So we started discussing, and we realized that a lot of the things that he had were on his personal computer. So if something had happened to James, if he had won the lottery and decided to leave the company one day, we would have been in a little bit of a tight spot. So that, again, begs the questions. Have you thought about the following things? Document storage, like we discussed with James. Are you keeping this on the cloud? If you're a sole trader on running the business individually, maybe your personal computer is not a bad thing. But what happens if your personal computer fails, breaks down, somebody steals it? So maybe you want to have something in the cloud as well, as you say there, Adrian. All of our client information, our client relationship management software, is that updated? That is something that we started to work together with James to solve, because it was not up to date, and we realized with that scare how important it is to have all of the information updated that everybody in the company can work on. Yes, Luis, Google Workspaces is wonderful for doing all of this, keeping documents in Google Docs. Keeping general information is a wonderful way of doing this. Microsoft has its own suite as well. And again, even if you're on your own, you might want to think about these things, because anything can happen to your computer, as we mentioned earlier with Erika. Supplier information. Do I keep the information of the people that I need to run my business? Do I have an alternative in case something happens to one of them? If the company of one of them fails to run an essential service for my company, do I have an alternative? Can I call somebody else and get this sorted out? Or will my own company come to a halt if theirs comes to a halt? All of these things are important. Cloud storage we mentioned. Cybersecurity as well. Again, the case of the hacker. Have I enough protections in place to protect me from a hacker invading the privacy of my company and stealing all of the information, or holding me for ransom, like they did with the social media accounts of Erika. But most importantly, out of all, and again, even if you're a sole trader, is there a culture of future proofing in the company? Do people understand that concept, that they need to be sharing the information, and they need to be thinking about the company not just an individual, not just if I keep the information on my personal computer, it will be better because then they cannot fire me or whatever. Are the people sharing all of the information so that if something happens to them, good or bad, the company can continue running? So all of these things are worth asking. And again, the future proofing culture can be essential even if you're on your own, like creating a discipline on storing stuff in the cloud, creating a discipline on keeping safe passwords and dual verification access to certain places that where you keep your information for your business. That culture is very important to protecting the future of the business in case anything happens. I want to center 2 seconds on cybersecurity because it's something that has turned out a lot recently. This is the Cyber Essentials scheme. It's a third-party certificate that the UK government requests from suppliers, from bidders that are applying for tenders since 2014 and that hold sensitive and personal information. Of course, this will not apply in its entirety to everybody, but a cool tip is if you can go to the readiness toolkit that I put over there, and I know Halima has been forwarding this information in chat as well. But this one is another good option. You can just go there for free. Try to fill it out. It's a little bit confusing, but it's worth it because at the end of the assessment, you will know, small things that maybe you are not currently taken care of. Even if you're not going to certify on the Cyber Essential scheme, it is good to know some of the aspects that they raise, some of the concerns that they look into when analyzing cybersecurity. Do I have business information on my personal phone or on any phone? Phones are usually more are less protected than computers, for example. Do I have a firewall that protects me in the places where I go to a cafe to work on my personal computer or the one I have at home? So these type of things, even if they don't apply in the entirety to you, can spark a couple of ideas. I know they did for me some months ago when I did this for another company, and it can help understand the world of cybersecurity and definitely give you thoughts and make you aware of things that probably you weren't taking care of before. Um, so now we're going to jump into a very, very quick poll. Ewan, if you can help me. We're trying to understand if these conversations that we're running through Rebel Plus are being useful for you guys. So Ewan just put one of the Rebel of the surveys on screen. If you can help us answer it would be great because it will give us some feedback about how useful this is being and how I'm just going to close this for now, how we can improve in the future in providing you more content that will help you grow your businesses. So thank you very much. If you can answer this, we are still a little bit away from the end, but close to it. So that's why it's important to have this run at this point. The fourth ring around the magic resilience circle is having a strong plan in place. And the reason why I leave it at the very end of the circle as probably the less important one, as many of you might know from participating in Rebel courses, we are not big fans of business plans, and I think that still remains the case. But having some sort of approach to future proofing is relevant. Knowing where your company is going, answering those questions that we raised at some point in the beginning about do I want it to remain in time after I'm gone? Do I simply want it to I want to sell some stuff and then once I'm done, I'm out with it? The level of future proofiness that you want to instill into the business will depend on what your plans for the business are. And most importantly, what do you need most at this time? Do I need to work on myself more at this time in order to protect the company for the future? Do I need to work on cybersecurity? Do I need to work on creating safeguarding mechanisms for my employees? What are the biggest risks that your company faces? And again, it's not necessary to draft a really complex and wordy plan. It is worth it to ask yourself what are the necessities of your particular business, and note them down and think about what are the risks that your company faces, and how do they affect your plans for it in the future. This will lead you quite nicely into what areas need more work. Yeah. Does the CRM need more work? Does my marketing and keeping a backup of my social media is what needs more work at this time? And it will depend completely on your own business. But at the very least, if you write it down, if you take notes of this at this current stage in history, you will know where to focus your efforts. Do I need to outsource more of the services in order to give more time to myself? And that's where the whole concept of the business continuity plan comes into place. Um, Ultimately, um, you know, big companies have very complex business continuity plans, 20, 30 pages, but you don't really need that. You just need to ask some key questions, like what we discussed when we were talking about James. What happens if a key member of my team, or if I myself as a co-founder get sick at some point? What happens if they go on vacation? What happens if they win the lottery? Do I know what happens if this happens? Do I know what happens if a key role in my company suddenly is not there? Will my company continue to operate? Do I know where to find all of the information that they have been working on? Do I know where they keep the company, if they have access to certain portals or to certain media? Do I know where they keep the passwords for this, because this is company information? So these are questions that go into this business continuity plan. What are the main risks? As we were talking earlier, what are the main risk events of my business? Is it a global pandemic? What happens if there is a global pandemic? Probably a lot of people uh, wish they had asked themselves this a couple of years ago. When the pandemic started, I was working in a very, very big company that actually had a business continuity plan for global pandemics in place. And it was amazing how they managed to adapt quite fast to the situation when it happened. But not everybody has that in top of mind. But thinking about this stuff and writing this business continuity plan can definitely help sort out some situations. Have you considered insurance for some of the more adverse events that definitely were unpredictable? Earthquakes, floods, whatever. Do you have insurance in place that can protect you against this? Do you have insurance in place against cybersecurity attacks? Because again, as we said at the very beginning of the talk, even if I don't know what will happen in the future, I know some things might. So I know I am subject to cyber attacks. I know I am subject to data breaches of the information. I know I need to take care of GDPR measures to protect the information of my customers and of my employees. So considering some insurance to at least alleviate the effects of these events can be helpful. Um, and potentially most important than all, do I have a recovery process for each process or for each individual in the company? If a flood occurs, does everybody in the company know what they have to do during the next week in order to sort out the situation or to manage the company to continue operating? And again, this doesn't have to be extremely complex. The smaller companies will have an easier time in doing this, but it is worth thinking and planning ahead and knowing what the people in my company and me myself as a business owner will need to do in case of an event, of a risk being actually certain at any given time. Um, so yeah, this is I said I was not gonna talk for a long time, and I have already taken definitely more than I had anticipated. So the end of the actual content. We're gonna jump into questions. I know there have been a couple of questions being raised in the chat, but for me, it's very important that you first of all write what your biggest lesson from this talk has been so far, and even more important than that, even if you don't do anything else, what action will you take from this chat? Is there anything that you think you should do this week, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and to protect your business against future events? Do you think this conversation has led you to that? If you can write in chat what a priority action will be, I would be very appreciative to know, and what your biggest lesson from this conversation was. Um, Preparing for the future is not just about finances. 100%, yeah, it's not just about finances. And as I think that at the very core of the circle is, again, the most important part is yourself. You don't know what will happen to yourself, and if you want your business to continue supporting your family or continue supporting yourself, if anything happens to you, even if it's temporary, you might want to have some of these measures in place. Yeah, two-step verification for social media and accounts. Yeah, it's very important. I think that is something that might have happened to, I don't know the specifics of what happened to Erica and her account, but cybersecurity is becoming, I see a couple of people talking about cybersecurity is becoming increasingly a relevant subject. And it will become more and more so as the digital world evolves. Um, think about the future. Look, yeah, check cyber essential readiness. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the cyber Francesca, the cyber essentials readiness toolkit. It might seem confusing. I know it was confusing for me that I'm not very digitally savvy, but kind of the suggestions that they leave, like that, the mere fact that I didn't know a lot of the terms that were appearing there made me realize that the company needed to be more careful with these things. So if that can be a lesson for the future, that would be, a big win for me from all of this thing. Check insurance, yeah, Laura, definitely. Yeah, back up my laptop. Yes, 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 yes. Back up my laptop. Back up my. Even if you have cloud services, it is sometimes worth it to verify with the provider, or if you outsource the cloud services, to verify if they are upping, if they are providing backups of the information. Um, because you never know. But definitely, if the information is currently being kept on your personal computer, definitely a backup is more than necessary. And as I said, creating a culture of future proofing, even if it means, every second Friday I'm going to update my backup. That is progress. That is progress. And as we say in Rebel, every day, every small thing counts. And definitely that can help reduce the risks of anything happen to your computer. Not only cybersecurity, it can get stolen, it can simply freeze, and it doesn't necessarily have to be related with an external factor. Paul says outsource things that I'm not good at. Definitely for your own sanity, as we said there on the slide, for your own sanity. It is just better to alleviate some of the burdens that you have, because at the end of the day, even if it might cost you some money, getting some outsourcing providers in place, or consultants, or whatever it might look like, freelancers. If you have time to do what you love and to do what is required to grow your business, you are protecting your business for the future indirectly, or very directly, actually. So that is very important. Wendy says definitely some ideas. Great, great, great. Plan for the future. Always back up work. Yep, yep, definitely. Um, some listings on the eBay store. Yeah, definitely. Reducing the risk, and kind of, I don't know how to say in English. Not keeping all of your eggs on the same basket is another important stuff. As I was saying earlier with the suppliers, even if you're very comfortable with your, I don't know, with your internet provider, it's important to have an alternative in mind in case they fail, so that you can quickly go to them, and no time is lost in your business for that. With the social media, and the places where you sell your businesses, it is even more important to have a couple as well. But okay, I see a lot of good lessons, a lot of great stuff here. Um, could you please explain very quickly? Okay, so now we're going here into the question time. I will answer your question, Patricia. Mm, Question time again. I'm here to help. While I answer the questions, I'm just gonna leave here in on the screen a very cheeky and blatant request. If you want to follow our Rebel in Spanish account, we run that from Colombia, and it shows all of the things that we are doing over there, and taking Rebel to other countries and to the Hispanic world as well. If you want to register for courses, there is the link as well. If you have any additional questions that were not answered or are not going to answer during this time that we have 10 minutes, please do send them. This is my email. I'm glad to support, glad to help. If I don't know the answer, it's highly likely that I won't know the answer. I will ask, and I will know where to ask, so we can solve it together. But I definitely can give it a go. So Patricia, a CRM is a client relationship management. Most of the time is software. Basically, there are many options to do this. There's HubSpot, which is probably one of the most famous. Is Salesforce as well. In Colombia, we use a simple Airtable as our CRM management. And what it does is it keeps the information of your clients and how you interact with them in one place. And the reason why I brought it up when I mentioned James is because we do that in the cloud. We use a provider called Soho, Zoho, as our CRM. So whenever James gets a new lead, he talks to a new client, he will store the information on that client on the CRM, so that everybody, in case something happens to him, and it's not just kept on his phone or on his computer, if something happens to him or he leaves the company, everybody in the company will know who to contact at a certain company, what is the phone, what is their email. They will have the information, and be able to reach out and be able to continue selling, which is the bread and butter of any business and the necessity of any business, even if the person that usually manages the relationship is not around. It is not necessarily just for sales. I think it can help you, manage other stakeholders as well. If, for example, you have a subscription page, but not all of the people in your subscription page are clients, it might help having the information on the CRM, so that you can reach out and send them updates and send them useful information that will help them, even if they're not currently your customers. So it is traditionally sales oriented. I'm also not a salesperson, so I don't know the full details, but it can help other things. Okay, what is in Spanish? Adrian, you say, what is in Spanish? Can we make the most secure? I have an iPhone and my colleagues here. Okay, so first, Adrian, you say, okay, the name of the CRM. I'm going to put here a couple: Soho, Airtable, HubSpot. Some of them have free trials. Some of them are free until a certain number of clients. What else? Salesforce. I have said, okay, these are CRMs. What is in Spanish? The courses are in Spanish. Oh God, my fault. Halima, how are you? And could you put in chat the link to the English courses? There you go. Yuan is way smarter and far faster than me. There you have, Adrian, the links for the Rebel UK courses. So while I answer Melanie's question, I will also leave this on screen. You can join the support group where we can have a lot of rebels that have come through the program. If you have any additional questions that I cannot solve and that probably the community will be better positioned to solving, you can join this and raise your questions there. The rebel community is growing and it's very helpful and very friendly. You can join them if you follow this link and raise your questions over there. And there is an alumni networking event on Thursday as well, if you weren't aware. There it is. So Melanie, you asked about phones being insecure and how can you protect it. So there are apps as well that can safeguard phones. If your company reaches a certain size and you have a couple of employees or more employees, you can think of having a workspace on the phones and requesting your employees to create a workspace that basically separates their personal information on their phone. If they have a bring your own device to work, if you have a bring your own device to work mechanism in place, you can separate create two chambers. One is the personal stuff that the people use on their phones, but one is more work related, and that can have additional security measures on it. Again, I'm not a techie person, but I have seen it working in the past like that. There are, of course, spyware and firmware that apply only to phones as well. And I guess that some of the compartmentation of functions in the phone can be applicable to both iPhones and Androids. We have a question from Sassy. How are you distinguishing risk management from proofing? Thanks. Okay, good question. Yeah, I think it's as I said at the very beginning, and the terminology might be the same at the end of the day. Risk management does have an intention to protect company against risk for the future perseverance. So ultimately, it might be quite the same. I just think that future proofing sounded more catchy to me, and it might be a little bit more grounded because at the end of the day, even though risk management can include your the personal side, the creativity, your own creativity side. I thought that the future proofing could help understand it better, but at the end of the day, I do think they're quite similar. Um, yeah, we did. So Adrian, yes, we have we have our courses in Spanish in Colombia, but of course the majority of the courses all of the courses in the UK are running English. But yes, our courses are running in Colombian Spanish. They're currently all in person, so you would have to make your way to Colombia. We would welcome you there for one of the Spanish courses over there. Okay. On Thursday, is supposed to get a recording of the Rebel Alumni Network. No, unfortunately, no, Adrian. Currently, we are not recording the sessions. Unfortunately, we're working on creating something more asynchronic for people that come to specific courses. But all of the course notes will be there on the webpage. We have additional support via the podcasts and the support groups. So yeah. Paul says, I use a quote system called Quotient after. Okay, that's a good suggestion. I'm honest, I don't know a lot of the terms that you use, the quote system called Quotient app, but those are quite good suggestions. So now that we are reaching 12:30, 1:30, sorry, I think that's quite it. That's the end of the presentation. I really do hope that you got something valuable from it. Thank you for answering the polls, and hopefully we will keep on seeing you. Again, if I didn't answer one of your questions and missed it in the chat, you can write to me. I put my email there, and I know Halima will eventually upload this whole presentation to our Rebel Plus section in the webpage. So yeah, thank you very much for this. I hope it really was helpful, and we'll keep on talking. Please do send your questions forward if you have them, and the best of luck with all of your businesses.